Jeepers, who would have thought we'd have seen the Australia Day mass debate still going strong?
Me.
First, we had the reheated citizenship ceremony stuff, and now we have the opposition reheating merch. It's like a sequel no one asked for. I first caught a sniff of this one when outraged caller Errol gave 3AW a call.
Errol, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Heidi. Just come to light on social media just about an hour ago that Woolworths will no longer be selling Australia Day merchandise this year nationally.
Woolies will not be selling any Australia Day merchandise?
No, none at all. They're saying just due to lack of sales, gradual decline in demand of Australia Day merchandise over the stores.
What do you think of that?
No Australia Day merchandise. What a disgrace. What a disgrace. An absolute disgrace.
I mean, how dare a privately run company that exists to make a profit for its shareholders make a commercial decision to not stock a product because it wasn't selling? Woolies released a statement.
The Woolworths Group has sent us through their official statement that says, while Australian flags are sold within Big W all year round, we have no additional themed merchandise available to purchase in-store in our supermarkets or Big W ahead of Australia Day. There's been a gradual decline in demand for merchandise from our stores over recent years. At the same time, there's been the broader discussion about the 26th of January and what it means to different parts of the community. They'd like to remind us that they offer a huge variety of products to help customers mark the day as they choose, because they know many people like to use the day as a time to get together.
Then things sparked up when Peter Dutton, surprise, surprise, took issue with the decision.
I think it's an outrage, to be honest, and I think people should boycott Woolworths. I would advise very strongly to take your business elsewhere, to go to IGA or Coles or Aldi.
One day later,
Aldi has joined Woolworths in refusing to stock Australia Day merchandise this year.
And I think until we get common sense out of a company like Woolworths, I don't think they should be supported by the public.
This is something the boffins at Sky News have been more than happy to amplify. Here's Sophie Get to the Chopper Ellsworth, almost hitting on a point.
What's the harm in putting a few items on a shelf and letting us as the shoppers make our own decisions whether we want to buy some Australia Day merchandise or not?
Well, Soph, I'd say that's probably what's been happening for some time now. Shoppers have been making their own decisions, which has resulted in a privately owned company going on to make a commercial decision of their own. I'd suggest that had all of the Made in China Australia Day themed merch been flown off the shelves in recent years, Woolworths may well have found space this year. Because if we've learned nothing else in the past few months, it's that supermarkets love to make a profit.
I looked online, Andrew, the Coles website. Don't get too worried. They're selling koala face masks and echidna serviette.
Thank God. I was freaking out.
With Sky News viewers rushing out to buy their koala masks and echidna serviettes from Coles, Andrew Bolt's had plenty of opportunity to roll out his favourite word.
Woke.
I do have a suggestion for the Woolworths board. If Dutton's going to call for people to boycott you, why don't you put a stop to any and all political donations you're making to the coalition? While you're at it, stop donating to the Liberal feeder Cormick Foundation too. Sky News are right behind the spud though, dropping the trigger words left, right and centre.
Culture wars, woke,
Evil global elite.
fighting the culture wars.
Culture wars.
People have declared war on Australia Day. This is a war.
Political correctness.
A war on Australia Day.
Identity politics.
Social agendas.
Lefty commentators can call it a silly culture war if they like.
Oh, okay then.
Culture war games. Culture war. Culture war. Revolutionary agenda. Go woke, go broke.
We are the resistance. There's almost 26 million of us in this country. The lefties aren't the minority.
What's a Freudian slip?
The silent majority, global elites, shove their agenda.
Culture wars. Culture wars.
Fighting the culture wars. Fighting the culture wars. Fight the culture wars. Fight the culture wars.
They've also decided to cancel Australia Day.
We've found a new mayor for Gaslight City.
Really getting their audience rolled up. One of my favourite bits of coverage was this gem from Sunrise, where they were able to get out and about and canvass a wide range of views from a highly diverse population.
I feel like it's pandering to a minority of people. The majority of people here celebrate Australia Day.
We enjoy Australia Day. We enjoy Australia Day celebrations. So, I think it's a crazy situation.
I think it's disgusting. Yeah, I mean, the reasons that they're doing it are the minority rule over the majority.
Diversity!
This is a war.
Yep, it's war out there. Fairly predictably, things escalated off the back of Dutton's call to arms.
Police are tonight hunting a disgruntled shopper who vandalised a southeast Woolworths store over its decision to pull Australia Day merchandise from its shelves.
You can see him here spray painting a message right across the front of the building, and then he actually lights a flare and sticks it inside the automatic doors of the shopping centre. That explosion then triggering fire alarms. More than 100 residents who live in the apartment block here getting a pretty rude wake-up call for their Monday, forced to evacuate.
So what did Dutton have to say about this development? Some media outlets did their level best to totally misrepresent the situation. Here's an example. Ban is such an emotive word, but I'd expect the Australian to understand the difference between a ban versus a business deciding not to sell something that had seen decline in sales. There's probably a reason that they went with ban. Then we had some gems from the political fringes. Campbell Newman trying to draw a link between Woolworths' decision and their share prices, completely overlooking the fact that their competitor, an Australia Day merch seller, Coles, had seen a bigger drop in share prices for the same period, whilst he was also overlooking the fact that the government were threatening an inquiry into supermarket price gouging, which in my view is the far more likely explanation for the drop in share prices of the two leading supermarkets. Conflict and division is exactly what Dutton wants, and needs if he's any chance at the next election.
The leader of the opposition is doing what he does traditionally. He's just trying to pick an issue to get people divided and outraged.
Dutton's whole objective is to keep the culture war fire burning. Once the 26th has passed, he'll move on to the next battleground. Doesn't even matter what it is, just so long as it's enough to fire up his base. Something to create a bit of conflict in the public discourse, get his head on the telly and give him something to talk about outside of actual policy, because the reality is the coalition have none of those.
We don't have policies, we're in opposition. We don't have policies, we're in opposition.
Weird to hear it said out loud.
This whole outrage thing is something that we can look forward to from the opposition going forward toward the next election. Screeching about anything they can use to stoke up some division in the community. Divide and conquer, I guess. They're light on integrity, but heavy on conflict. His strategy is fairly obvious. The coalition's latest catchphrase is textbook projection.
Dividing the country. What the PM's doing at the moment is dividing our country.
While Dutton rushes around busily doing his best to promote a divided Australia, the public relations arm of the coalition are doing their best to brand Albo as a weak beta male.
Nightmare fuel for Albo.
He is weak and he is woke.
A beta male.
Beta male. I think he was always like that.
He's not a leader, he's a follower, he's a beta male.
Beta male.
We're now covered in boils. He's a weak man.
Focus groups saying we think he's a weak Prime Minister, a beta male, a follower, not a leader.
This leaves us with the obvious pitch. In a divided country with a weak beta PM, only a strong leader can unite us. Strong man Dutton.
Give me strength.